seeing what is going on. Making a little bit of, they're doing a little bit of cable action here, so I can get this thing set up where we want it. And yeah, rolling on a little bit of LMR400. This is going to be for the 𝗵𝗶𝘀𝗁 that is going up. So nothing super fancy, nothing you haven't seen before. Just making sure I don't forget some important stuff. And also I saw a, well, I'm getting a ton of like, hey, helium's dead, what are you gonna do? It's gone, the mining rewards are down, all that kind of usual BS. And I went to a, what was it, an economic development corporation, something like that today, for 𝐻𝐶𝗿𝗄, and talked to a bunch of farmers, and they're psyched. They're psyched on any kind of technology that'll help them out. San Diego's got more farms than any other county in America. It's got more, there's a lady there that was just rattling off these stats that were awesome. It's more, I think, more women-owned farms than any county in America. There's one other cool stat with it. But just, yeah, a lot of people, a lot of farmers, a lot of folks also who are on kind of the economic development side, who are psyched on, yeah, any of that stuff. And so for those of you who are getting into helium now and think that maybe you're a little bit late, it depends on what you want. If you want super easy mining rewards, yeah, you're too late on that one. If you want to learn about a pretty cool system, which is this whole LoRa blockchain thing, and you also don't mind making a little bit of HNT, and you're cool with that, and you want to go solve problems in the real world, this is a pretty radical time to be entering into helium. We also saw, I saw something on Twitter today. Armand had said, haven't made an Ethernet cable for a while, made one today. Okay, yeah, this should be an LMR400 cable, so hopefully it doesn't look, so that's what we've got right now. We're gonna peel the shield back. It was just super cool to be around people who weren't helium people, but just didn't know about it. And it was amazing and magical to them that you could put sensors up and yeah, gather whatever data you wanted. I mean, it's like San Diego, I guess, is unusual in the farming community or community regions in that land here is really expensive, water is really expensive here. And they kept saying that the regulatory environment was complex, which I think just means that all the rules make it a real pain in the ass to deploy here. That's how I understood that. Which ends up meaning that there's a fair amount of opportunity out there, which is, yeah, super, super cool. So let's see, am I getting everything right here? Put a little bit of flux on this. I just made the other half, and then I was like, I'll just turn this thing on, see what she. But yeah, it just struck me today, like, we're totally at the beginning of this whole LoRa sensor deployment thing. In fact, oh, this is super cool. I met a lady today, and we started talking, and there's, I don't know, 40 or 50 people here, or 40 or 50 people at this event, and I said back and forth, all the usual BS when you first start. And she also runs a company, 𝗨𝗪𝑠ys, T-A-L-O-S-Y-S, if I remember right, that uses LoRa to do what we're doing. And she had just switched over from TTN to helium. So the folks who are kind of ahead of us, those of us who are coming into this a little bit later, are already aware of helium, already using it. It was super cool to see that this lady had already, she's like, oh yeah, I'm already using helium. And she's kind of smiling as she said it, to meet someone who also knew what helium was at this place. So pretty cool to see that. I think that, and just meeting all these folks who are super psyched on the potential of all this stuff was really cool. Let's see. Get this sucker heated up here. I don't know how much I don't know how much you can see of what I'm doing, but there we go. There's the beginning piece, and that should be enough there. Yeah, that should do for that part. Let me turn this sucker off. I was using an electric soldering iron, and then it's just this gas stuff got to be way easier. So yeah, I think that was kind of the big message to share, was if you're just getting into helium now, or if you're getting discouraged, now is about to be the time where it's going to be pretty rad to be in this helium space. And it's kind of the thing that that Helium Inc., now Nova, started the whole thing for, is so that we have, now we're at this point where we have a network and we can use this network. And yeah, it's about to get super exciting. So this cable is for the 𝗵𝗶𝘴 500 that I'm going to deploy. I was going to do it today. I don't think I'm going to get to it. I'm just going to go have a rad little dinner with my bride. She's got a tomahawk steak the size of my head, so we'll see how much damage we can do with that. But yeah, this is the LoRa side of the 𝗵𝗶𝘴 500. I got a splitter in today from Stargate. Greyhat guy was making me a splitter. He's still making me a splitter, but he cut his fingers, I don't know, not clean off, but enough to get stitches and stop all current development. So I'd ordered a backup just in case something like this happened. So I got the splitter in, and the reason that the splitter is special is that on the LoRa side, not the 5G side, but on the LoRa side of the 𝗵𝗶𝘴 500, you need 60 watts if you're going to do, you need 60 watts. And most power over Ethernet, most PoE injectors will only inject 30 watts, which presents a problem because you only have half as much as you need. I think I talked about it last time, avoiding the warranty and all that stuff. And Bobcat has said, like, hey, don't, or I don't know if they said don't do it, but I think they said, where did this happen today? Explain for us. Oh, we're going to be, so what are you using the splitter for? Yeah, there's an awful lot that happened. There's two different things. So I'm using the splitter to power the LoRa side of the 𝗵𝗵𝐴 500. And the 𝗵𝗵𝐴 500 is Bobcat's 5G miner. And so the problem there is that it requires 60 watts. Most injectors only do 30 watts, and so you've got to have an injector that does 60. So I bought this Stargate injector. You end up buying, Stargate splitter, because the router that I've got it will push out 60 watts. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And then I was up at this like economic development meetup, or economic development meeting. I'm sure they wouldn't appreciate me saying it that way, for Escondido. Escondido mayor was there. There's some folks there in local government, and it was all about farms in San Diego. And so it was really encouraging to me to see all of these farms who have the ability to use, or kind of the ability and the interest to use this whole network that we've been building over the past, whatever it is, year and a half, 2 years, depending on how long you've been in helium. See all these folks who are like, oh yeah, totally, I want to know whatever, soil moisture, soil temperature, I want to know how much diesel is in my tank, I want to know how much water is in my pond, I want to know how much water I'm using, I want to know how much fertilizer I'm using, I want to know the pH in my soil. And some of this, basic stuff, as we think of it as like, oh, that sensor's not sexy enough, I want the, whatever, people counter. Although I did meet someone today who's like, oh yeah, I want to use people counters, how do I do that? And of course I'm like, well, the thing here in San Diego didn't work out. Local government was really worried about surveillance technology, but that was the city of San Diego, and this is a different city of Escondido. So we'll see if they follow through with it, or if they can do it, because I know that governments right now, are city governments, state governments, federal governments, are all really worried about this whole surveillance technology thing. But and so these people counters, even though they're LiDAR, even though they're not collecting any PII, any personally identifiable information, it's still kind of a worrisome thing. So we'll see if it actually goes. But just super cool to be around. I'm always around you guys, around the helium folks, and so to be around kind of people who don't know about it, and to explain it to them, and to talk through what the benefits might be, and to see their eyes light up and they're like, oh, I could totally use that for X, Y, and Z. I mean, I forget what it is. I forget what the numbers are on the wine country, but there's, I think they're called vintners here in San Diego, and there's a ton of new vintners, and they're all in like 5-acre farms, and they're selling so much, and they can produce so little that you never see them in local grocery stores. They're not producing enough to sell in local grocery stores because they sell everything at the vineyard. So most of us in Southern California think of kind of Temecula as our local like vineyard place or whatever you call it. But here in San Diego, there's a bunch as well. And so, you know, talking to those people and seeing some of the other problems we've seen kind of solved with helium, and that we're looking at up in, when I was up in Boise, was just, what was one of them, like mold on the grapes will kill them super fast. And so if you can have a sensor that detects mold and transmit that, and you know, all the water stuff can blast off every, whatever, 5 minutes, which is way faster than almost anything else out there, and have a super long battery life. Oh, no wonder it's not fucking going. I wasn't paying attention there and didn't have the temperature up enough. I was like, man, why is this thing not shrinking? Putting some heat shrink on this N-type cable. That's what I get for talking and doing something at the same time. But now we'll get this sucker to shrink. So yeah, that's what's going on. I don't even know what today is. Today's Wednesday, must be. I think I didn't work out this morning, so it's got to be Wednesday. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll get this. I should get this thing deployed tomorrow, and we'll see how it does. I know that we got a on the network right now. It's not flux on the network right now. I saw a couple announcements today where they're just working on it. They almost had a chain halt. Yep. Yeah, 𝗁𝗁𝗏 guy, dude. So I hope your fingers are okay. I was just saying that you about cut them clean off. I think you said you got a couple stitches. So I think I got 5 stitches in my lip when my dog bit me in my face. So I know what it's like to get stitches and just be a little bit out of commission for a while. But yeah, that's what's going on. Get the fan up, let that guy cool down, and I think we're good on cables. Okay, you guys have any questions? I'm gonna head off to dinner, but since I'm here, if you got any questions about what's going on today, and especially the other thing I saw, that thing with Twitter that Armand put out, that Helium is doing technical tests with a couple of the major players. That's pretty big news. I expect we'd see the price go up from that on HNT, although it may still be so coupled to the rest of the crypto market that it may not move that much. Pretty interesting to see what goes down. I know we're talking about that in the crew channels, and there's a little bit of price speculation there. So yeah, 𝗨𝗁𝗏, okay. But they take more than super glue sometimes. That's the deal. All right, yeah, interesting stuff. Do you recommend 𝐷𝐴 Coax you know, so 𝐷𝐴 Coax is good. I think McGill also sells this stuff. I think when I was first buying to it and first coming to 𝐷𝐴 Coax was the only place that you could go, and so I did it. But I don't think I ever got the Flex, so I didn't. Did do that. Any reason to expect better earnings in the future? No, there is no reason to expect better earnings in the future. The network will stabilize, so we'll come closer and closer to whatever the equilibrium point is as far as how many people are on the network versus how much each miner makes. Before we went into this light hotspot transition, that was right around 0.1 HNT a day. I don't know that it'll be way off of that, but you're not going to see earnings go up, right? It's just that's the kind of nature of the beast, is that as more people come on, thanks, Mike. As more people come on, it's just going to end up being more people splitting the rewards. And so I think it's really important to be kind of very pragmatic about what's going to happen with the network, right? Is we are no longer going to see people racing to deploy just to deploy a helium hotspot. We're not going to see this transition. Now I can see you guys are blasting notes. I think we can hope for the coin price to increase. We haven't hit even more than one halving yet. Yeah, I totally think we can see the coin price increase. And then I missed the 𝗁𝗏𝗏 guy. Sorry, I missed your notes. They like fade out on the phone here after 10 seconds. So, and I'm not sure where I wonder if I can bring up there. Live chat, nope. Chat viewing options, all messages are visible. Oh, there it is. Cool. 1.5 million miners on back order. You know, so I think that's an interesting piece off Grid Helium, is how many of those miners are on back order, or how many of those orders are going to get canceled, right? Because if you ordered a miner 8 months ago or 6 months ago or even 4 months ago, you can still cancel it. And so you may end up doing that and saying, this is not worth my time to do it with the prices where they are. Maybe, and I think this part, like, I'm a fan of Helium. So I think that prices are going to go up, and I think that, you know, making decisions based on today's prices is probably going to lose you. I think it's going to lose you a lot of what's the way to say it, optionality, right? You're not going to have that ability to sell that later if you sell it today at whatever it is, 759 or 762 for 1HNT. I think we're going to see, I mean, that announcement that came out today, if Helium is doing technical tests with the majors, it's not a guarantee. I think he said 2 out of 3 of the majors, so AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile or what's the other one? If they're doing technical tests, those guys are looking at it. And so you think about it, when, this is just my opinion, but as soon as one of those guys signs roaming agreements with Helium on 5G, and there's enough 5G units out there for people to be able to usefully roam onto Helium, and that becomes a thing, we're going to see the price go up. I don't see how that will not go wrong. Let's see, hope with light spots it gets to the suburbs and rural areas. Yeah, I think, you know, what we saw early was the people just putting hotspots out to put hotspots out, right? Just putting out mountain deployments, just like I did, because that was how you got the best kind of coverage for other miners. But in reality, when we're thinking about the use of the network, you don't need miners everywhere. You don't need miners in the mountains. And so where you start to need miners will shift. And we're going to see this shift over to use of the network. And that's kind of the big thing. Yeah. Once we go to 5G, what I think we're going to see is that decoupling from price. Oh, there's Lee. Dinner's ready. Okay. Well, she could just yell that, but I guess she's getting on the tube, so you guys know what's going on. I am out of here. I'm going to go get this tomahawk steak, and yeah, thanks for joining. Hopefully, some of this stuff was useful with the cable making. Rock on. I'm out of here.